Dear colleagues, we continue our working day and the topic of the next event, Freedom in the World 2017, Key Findings for Ukraine and the World. Matthew Schaaf, Director of Freedom House of Ukraine. Welcome on stage. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I want to present a report of Freedom House. This is key publication. This is the assessment of global political rights and civil freedoms. This report was started in 1972, and this report is done with the use of information provided by 110 countries. We also base our report on the information of civil society, government, and the media. And this report, for each country, for each territory, we have analysis of electoral process, political pluralism, and the functioning of government, freedom of speech and religion, freedom of assembly, the supremacy of law, and individual rights also analyzed. And we have a three-stage rating system that consists of scores, ratings, and status. The last one is reflected in this map, Freedom in the World. And in this map, green is free, yellow partly free, and purple is not free. Freedom House also analyzes the territories, for example, such as Crimea, and the assessment does not mean that we believe that this territory is independent, so we just assess this territory. For Ukraine, we have score 3, and this is among states that are partly free. And we should mention that political fight at the start of the year and the appointment of the new prime minister, who continued the efforts of the state to carry out the reforms and the opportunities to fight corruption in the country. Also about the requirements of the world community to persecute those who are guilty in crimes in Yanukovych's era, killings of protesters. Ukrainian authorities reached minimum results. The Minsk agreement is so the number of casualties decreased, but in the east of Ukraine fighting continued, and the situation in Donbas is not stable. There were several killings and assassinations of in uncontrolled territories. They continue to have violations of human rights, and Pavel Sheremet was killed, and we have concerns about the safety of journalists in Ukraine. Some journalists and media organizations were threatened throughout the year, both in territory that is controlled by the state and those territories that are controlled by terrorists. So also LGBT parade was was protected by law enforcers, and the situation was calm during this meeting. But in some other places, LGBT community meetings came under attacks and threats. 67 countries suffered because the level of political freedoms and the civil freedoms, liberties decreased. And also there were some figures that are on the rise, and it was in during 11 years. Now the situation is on the decrease, and also the victory of Trump in U.S. Questioned the rise of freedoms in the world, and also the collapse of Italian government after constitutional report, and also steps made by Polish government and xenophobic parties in some parts of Europe also question European values that formed the institutions of global democracy. Russia shows its supremacy and intervened in the political process in the US and in other democracies, and also they provided support to the dictatorship in Syria, and reinforced its support to the terrorists in the east of Ukraine. And also China ignored court rulings on their actions, and also repressed those who do not think like in their own territory. And also in Thailand and Philippines, there were some violations of human rights of different scales that went unpunished. And concerning the formation of global trends, in the report Freedom in the World, the changes in the Central Europe, including Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and Czech Republic, and Serbia, and also populists and autocrats and their connections, and the reinforcement of these forces, and the reinforcement of populist parties in the Netherlands, Britain, Italy, Austria, with the support of Russia. And we base on the information that the values and international law, they are violated by global violations and the supremacy of power. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. Maybe you have questions or clarifications, please. If there are no, thank you. Goodbye.